you are deaf, dumb, blind, stupid, or probably poor. My name is Maxwell Jacob Friedman. You can hear all about me and my best friend Cody Rhodes at AEW Insider.
What's up, peeps? We're back. As always, I'm your host, Lee Benson. Thank you so much for joining us for our YouTube edition of the AEW Insider. I know it's been like a week since I did a show, but I've been very, very busy. I redid and painted my whole living room this weekend. It's still a process, what have you. If you want, check the pictures out on Facebook. But that's what I've been busy doing and taking care of my kid. But let's get to the show. AEW. Well, last night on AEW Dynamite, they had MJF give Cody his 10 lashes with the belt. It was a tad brutal to watch, and I guess a little bit more brutal for some fans that were there, because in fact, a fan legit attacked MJF and Wardlow on their way out of the ring. MJF and Wardlow beat the fan down. It was insane. But you eagle-eyed fans at home went over the footage numerous times, and it has been revealed that it was a work. It was fake, a setup. It was none other than Frankie Kazarian from SCU. I don't know why they would use an actual wrestler that is known. Usually when you do things like that, you use a wrestler that's in training that we really never seen on TV before. And also, when they paused it and looked at the footage, he was still in full gear. He had his ring gear on and his knee pads. So they kind of dropped the ball on that one. Even though that part of it was a work, those 10 lashes Cody got were definitely not a work. Cody posted a picture online of his back after taking the lashes, and holy fuck does it look like it hurt. Jon Moxley did an interview with TV Insider. He talked about when he knew AEW was here to stay and other things. When he realized AEW was here for the duration. There are so many promotions that have come and gone and tried to make a go of it and failed. Over the years, there are people who make a lot of big promises. First time you hear something like this initially, you think, I'll believe it when I see it. A lot of stuff was in play, top secret, before people even knew about it. There was an infrastructure being built before the public knew this was a thing. When I first came into the fold, it became real. My goals aligned with theirs, so we were all on the same page. A lot of people think we're in some honeymoon period, and it's just a hot thing right now. But we already proved we are not going away. We have this audience that was underserved for so long when we started. They, WWE, started the counter program right out of the gate without us even getting a foothold or being established in a market. Now we are here. That was gratifying to see us on top, kind of like a middle finger. The main thing that is driving this forward is the fans. There is a bigger fan base for wrestling than people maybe even thought. You have wrestling fans in a closet, so to speak. Now there is an alternative. It's cool to be a wrestling fan in 2020. There's an audience for this. The energy and the passion and excitement we get from fans, whether it's in an arena or on a fucking boat in the middle of the ocean, they're always there for us. That is what's driving this whole thing forward. The last show on the cruise, everyone was just hanging out, hugging, high-fiving. I really felt like we were all on the same team and in this together as wrestling fans. We come from different walks of life because we love this crazy thing called wrestling. Tony Khan did a slew of interviews, so I just took the best one from each one and just put it together. Tony Khan did an interview and he actually named his Mount Rushmore of wrestling. He did name Chris Jericho, of course, alongside Steve Austin, Bret Hart, and Ric Flair. WWE. On NXT last night, the Velveteen Dream made his comeback from injury. It was amazing to see him. That is my dog, but rumors are backstage that Thomas Ciampa might have been injured. Let's all hope not. That guy needs a fucking break. On WWE Backstage this week, WWE announced 2 signings. They did sign Timothy Thatcher, and they finally admitted to signing Killer Kross. I've been reporting that he is going with WWE, and he had a meeting with Triple H, even though he denied it. You knew he was going to go where his gorgeous-ass girlfriend was. I hope they use him right, because if he was upset with Impact's creative, he's going to hate WWE's. The Revival has asked for their release from WWE again. Yes, it's at least the 3rd time, if not more, in like 2 years. They're turning down a boatload of money by not staying. Booker T gave his thoughts on his podcast about what he would do if he was in their position. If I can give them any advice, I say take the money. Take what's behind door number 1. I'm speaking personal experience only. If they came to me and they said, hey, Book, we're going to give you $1 million for a year. You ain't got to win no titles. We'll give you TV time. We're going to give you a 15-year contract. I'm going to shut the hell up. R-Truth and Brock Lesnar had a very funny segment on Raw after Royal Rumble. So funny and good, in fact, that they might work together in the future. Truth said, Brock actually has been pitching ideas. He wants to work with me doing something because of that segment. He pitched a couple ideas. He and I talked afterwards. The sky's the limit. The business is always changing, and I'm always changing with things. NXT UK's Toni Storm did an interview with BT Sports about her nude pics being released of her last year and how she was in a bad place mentally. Storm said, "This time last year, I was so depressed and I was in a bad place. I didn't even know if I wanted to keep doing this because I was in such a bad way. But these things started coming up. If I can achieve this, I can have everything. I must be able to because I've overcome all that and I'm here in a Royal Rumble. When I was a little girl, I'd print out match graphics. I'd put a photo of myself in them. I'd always write it down. I write down the matches and which ones I want to be in. Maybe it manifested. I just visualized it for so long and it started to happen. It's still just crazy." Buddy Murphy did an interview with TalkSport. He talked about joining Seth Rollins' stable, working with Roman Reigns, and more. This is what Murphy had to say about Roman. "Yeah, it was awesome to be in that position. With the Roman match and being thrown into the mix with him, Roman was awesome to work with. He kind of let me put on my own little spin on it. It was more of a Buddy Murphy match, so to speak. I know a lot of people in the internet wrestling community give Roman a lot of hate. He can't wrestle or whatever. Roman is one of the best wrestlers in the world, and you can mark my word on that. And I feel like he opened up a lot of our eyes that he could do a match and hang with me, so to speak. I know a lot of people were saying I hung with Roman, and that was the idea, but Roman hung with me. We had a great chemistry together, and I would wrestle him every day of the week. Same with Daniel Bryan. Bryan is obviously a little bit smaller than Roman, and he has this independent background as I do, but it was just awesome to get in there and mix it up with them all. I would do it again any day." And about joining Seth Rollins' stable. It's really pretty neat what you're seeing in a sense. I respect Seth a lot. I'm his follower or disciple or whatever you want to call it, and there's a lot I can learn from it. It was a really fun dynamic, and I think it can lead into some good storyline. And working alongside AOP, working alongside Seth in a ring, it's great too, man. Seth did approach me about it, yes. I was very excited to have that story to sink my teeth into because I knew I could go out there and perform. I've proven that and I've stolen many shows. But the character aspect of connecting with the fans is something you always want to work on. This is a perfect opportunity for that. Impact Wrestling. Well, during a recent media conference call, aka Damage Control, Tessa explained her side of calling her coworker a nigger and slapping her in the face. Tessa claims that it was a very emotional weekend, full of highs and lows. I chose to step away from social media for a bit because all these things that were going on. With everything that went on over that weekend, not everyone's going to like me. Not everyone is going to agree with what I chose to do in my life. I made a mistake. I faced challenges. One thing I will say, though, is that I never used a racial slur of any kind in my life. It's not something that I've done. It's not something that I will do. It's just not true. Some people, they look at social media, someone makes an accusation, and they will just go with it. Everybody just hops on a bandwagon. We've all got our own stories. There's a side of everyone's life that is public and a side that is private. There's a part for all the world to see and can be judged by anyone that's interested in it. It's just very unfortunate that some people resort to saying certain things, but it's just not true. And that's as much as I'll say on it. I know who I am. That's the world we live in. I face challenges and obstacles that allowed me to persevere, to become the woman and athlete that I am today. This is just another stone in that step. Random news. We touched a little bit on Jon Moxley before, and so did Eric Bischoff in a recent interview. This is what Eric Bischoff thinks about Mox becoming the face of AEW, aka their top guy. Bischoff said, "Not yet. I gotta be honest. I like his character. I like his work. I like the fact that he's kind of this enigma in a way. There's a lot of things I like about him, but the top guy, if I'm being honest, no, I don't think he's ready." He also said, He's two-dimensional, and he needs to find his third dimension to get on the same type of Jericho level. There's nothing wrong with his work, nothing at all wrong with his character, other than I'm not seeing a lot of depth put into it. There's a sameness to it. There's not enough range to it. I think that's true across the boards for a lot of characters, not just Jon Moxley. You can go back and look at Chris Jericho's career. He's been able to successfully reinvent himself to so many different times in so many different ways because he has that range and that third dimension. A lot of people have never really developed that. A lot of top guys don't have it. If any talent, not just Jon Moxley, wants to reach that level, they have got to have that range that allows them to position elements of their character to make them feel more interesting. A promoter was killed in Mexico last Sunday. Several armed men entered a restaurant. That's where the promoter, Gerardo Martin, was eating. They shot him multiple times. Then they sped off in a gray van. He sadly died before the paramedics could arrive. The feeling in Mexico is that it was a targeted execution because nobody else who was with him was shot. There was a show planned for later that Sunday, but it was obviously canceled. The next show is scheduled for February 16th, but that is up in the air right now, and so is the future of the promotion. As we know, in Mexico, the cartels, aka their mob, run shit down there, not the cops. Scott Hall appeared on Talk as Jericho. He revealed why he left WWE for WCW and some other things. Here's what the bad guy had to say on why he left WWE to go to WCW. I had been schooled in a kind of old school art of doing business with promoters by Curt Hennig. So I pulled Vince aside and I said one more time, "Hey, boss, can I ask you for some advice?" Because Curt said the smarter guys, they like the help. He wants the help. So I said, "Hey, boss, is it my ring work that needs to improve? What do I need to work on?" "Absolutely not. You're one of the best we got." I said, "Is it my mic skills or something you can help me do to get better?" "I love what you're doing." He said, "I'm curious because I want to make big money like the guys before me, and I noticed that my pay is kind of plateaued, although I feel like my value to the company is increasing. I'm a babyface that you could leave laying and they chant my name. I mean, I put guys over and they're still chanting for me. I was in a good spot. And when I first started, Vince told me I was going to make a lot of money, and I told him I don't have to make the most. I just want a lot. I'm a redneck and I live kind of humbly. I'll get by fine. I just want a little more. Please." And Vince told me no. And Scott Hall talked about what other workers were making at the time when he was in WWE. "My contract was, as everybody's except maybe Hulk's or Ultimate Warrior's, 10 days at $150 a day guaranteed. Now you made more than that, but that was what you were guaranteed. 10 days, $115,$1,500, and you gave up everything for that $1,500. And on a final note, NWA Power changed their theme song this week. I have to say I'm not a fan. Yes, they did switch it to a Pantera song, but I don't give a fuck if it was Metallica, Jimi Hendrix, or the goddamn Beatles. Their original theme song, Into the Fire, kicked so much ass. It got me pumped and ready for the show every time as it played. This new one seems like an ECW knockoff to me. Peeps, you give it a gander and let me know which one you like better in the comments below. All right, peeps, well, that's it. I brought you an extra big show because I've been away for a while. I missed you motherfuckers. I will be back this weekend sometime with a new wrestling show. We got a lot of big events coming up, and just show us some love. Remember to show us some love on all podcasting platforms, Facebook and YouTube under the AEW Insider, and on Twitter under the AEW Insider 1. As always, I'm your host, Lee Benson. We'll see you soon. Ciao, peeps.